Mr. Nazeem. Welcome to Water Authority Fiji. My name is Seru, the Chief Operating Officer. I think you would have seen me copied in a few emails. So this is the face with the name. My taking you through the Suva-Nausori system this morning is it's going to be split out in three parts. I'll take you through our PowerPoint presentation. It gives you sort of an overview of the Suva-Nausori system. Then I'll take you through our SCADA system, so you can have a look at the pressures, the flow to the area of your residence in Lakena. And I'll take you through it's on Google Earth, where you have a look at how far we provide water services in the Suva-Nausori area.
Using one reservoir?
Yeah. Okay. And then after that, maybe we could do question and answers. If you have any further questions after that,
sure,
we'll be happy to answer you. So, Suva-Nausori system. This is basically just our vision, mission, and values. Clean water and sanitation for a better life. Our mission, we are committed to water and wastewater services through resilience, innovation, safe working practices, engaging our stakeholders, capacity building, being environmentally focused, modernization. And our current values is clear paths. Just inform you at this juncture as well. There's been a culture change program that has been introduced by our CEO. So our visions and our mission is changing, our values are also changing, is to suit not only the staff, but also what our customer needs. So it's sort of like a customer-centric approach to service delivery. So this is just the contents of my presentation this morning. History of water supply in the Suva-Nausori system. Just an overview of the entire system, the Tamavo system. So Suva-Nausori is split out into two systems. You have the Tamavo water supply system, which is fed out of the Tamavo water treatment plant up in Wailoku, and the Waila system, where your area is getting fed out of. It's out there in Nausori. And I'll just mention a few challenges that the Water Authority Fiji. So the Suva water supply was established in the year 1910. And in the year 1910, total demand for water in Suva was around 2.2 million liters of water a day. And then in 1950, that was upgraded to 10.4. All of this is happening because Suva has become the capital of Fiji, so population has increased. Now we are having to increase our treatment capacity. In 1961, our big water treatment plant up in Tamavo underwent a major upgrade from 10.45 and up to 18.18 megaliters a day. So megaliters is basically million liters in a day. 1970, we underwent another expansion. In 1982, we commissioned the Waila water treatment plant out in Nausori. So this is basically to target the supply of safe drinking water to the communities of Nausori, the Reservoir Delta, the Bulu area. So that basically is why that came in online in 1982. The year 2000, while our water treatment plant was upgraded to 95 million liters a day. So while our water treatment plant is one of our biggest water treatment plant in Fiji for the Water Authority of Fiji. Second only to Nanganda water treatment plant, which is sitting down in the Nanganda water system. And in 2010, our Tamavo and Waila water treatment plant, we are now, we've increased our treatment production at both plants since 2010. As you can see, we haven't done any expansion, but we've increased our production. So we are stretching our current infrastructure to try and produce enough water to meet the demands from the customers. So Suva-Nausori system, this is just an overview. What you're looking at, those 5 zones, those are the areas which are known as the Rewa system, the Wenimbuku system, and it all goes all the way down to Tongalevu in the army base, past Mbeli Naiveli, Wenganaki. That's where our system ends. Our system ends, we have Kalopalo village and then Namboro.
Oh, right.
So that's where our system ends. So that, as you can see, we've got a wide coverage. The Suva-Nausori system, we have 2 water treatment plants, which I've already mentioned, Waila and Tamavo. On an average day, we produce 164 million liters of water for the current population here in Suva. Our non-revenue water is 44%. So non-revenue water is basically what we produce as it leaves the water treatment plant to come to you as the customer. It gets lost through illegal connections, leaks. So that's what ended up
44%.
44%. So it's a really big number.
Big number, yeah.
We've got 21 reservoirs. We have 10 pumping stations. We have about 78,000 customer meters in the Suva-Nausori system. We have 72 domestic customers. Our biggest number of customers for us is domestic, and then we have 4,000 commercial and about 1,000 government. Our coverage is around 286 kilometers squared. Our staffing 217. It looks after the entire Suva-Nausori system, and our staff to meter ratio is roughly 1 staff for every 360 meters. So that's sort of the workforce to the work that's expected ratio. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through. Do you mind? I'll just stand up. So
Yeah, sure.
So this is the WAF system. What you can see here is all the lines that you see in yellow. That means it's pumping. It's a pumping line, and all the line that's in blue. That just means it's gravity flow. So out of WAF, we have 2 systems. It's the WAF system, and this system here. This is where we have a combination of WAF and WAF system feed zone. So let me take you through the WAF gravity system first. So out of WAF water treatment plant, we gravitate to a reservoir out here in Mid Road. We gravitate to Delena Vesi, down towards Tongaleo. Shipping reservoir, this is just beside the Australian Embassy. We have a major reservoir that's sitting there that feeds all of the Walu Bay industrial area. Sunken Meter House, from Sunken Meter House, we supply out to 2 red reservoir, which also includes the hospital, and also to Flagstaff. On our pumping system, we pump from Water treatment plant to Ngatu Reservoir. So Ngatu Reservoir is just located at Tadirua Heights. Behind Tadirua Heights. So we pump to Ngatu Reservoir, then we gravitate from Ngatu to Tadirua Reservoir. Tadirua Reservoir feeds all of Princess Road over the top to Namandi, to Upper Namandi area. From Tadirua, we pump to Dokani Suva. It takes care of customers between Tadirua and Dole Suva in that gap. Then we pump from Dokani Suva to Dole Suva, and Dole Suva Reservoir takes care of all our customers up in the greater Dole Suva area. So our oil system. Our water treatment plant, everything from out of Waila is pumping. So as you can see here, so we pump from Waila water treatment plant towards Wanyumbuku.
That's going to residential or?
Look, Wanyumbuku has a mixture of supply between residential and reservoir feed. So out of Wanyumbuku, in terms of residential areas we feed, we cover Nakasi, we cover the Wilevu, we cover Omkar, parts of Makoi through gravity feed. Out of Wanyumbuku Reservoir, we also feed. We pump up to Tovata Reservoir, we gravitate to Nasinu Reservoir, and to Flagstaff Reservoir. So out of Waila, we pump to Rewa Reservoir. This is just behind our depot in Rewa. And out of this reservoir, we feed customers in Delrukusha, Waila Housing, customers in Lokia, and the area between Milin and Lokia Junction. So that area gets covered under the Rewa Reservoir. Now, while we are pumping up towards Raralev, as I mentioned before, any line that's in yellow means it's pumping line. At the at the big Woody Junction. So we've got 2 valves that's sitting there, which we operate on a daily basis. So we have a main that goes directly into the Nausori town, and the other one that goes and feeds directly into the Rewa Delta. And to give you a better idea of how far this really is, they'll come up towards the end of our presentation on Google. Give you an idea of how far we come. Then once we go past these 2 things, we get to Raralev Reservoir. So the area where you're from is Lakena. This is your main reservoir. So we pump up to Lakena, then we gravitate to Lakena area, Verata level, down to Vudi Road, Mokani, and we also supply water to
Raralev is again residential or reservoir there?
It's a village.
Village.
Yeah.
So
So the reservoir is there, and next to it is the
reservoir is Raralebu Reservoir.
Yes.
And Raralebu Koro is a village.
Yes.
So you come from Raralebu Reservoir to
the reservoir for Raralebu village.
Just a short question. Like when you are pumping, what's the? It does incur cost.
Yes, it does.
It does incur cost. Okay. There's a short question. If it was not gravitational to Verata, if it was pumped, then what about the pressure? Would it have reached?
It can reach.
If you pump, because pump is extra force.
Yeah.
So if you are pumping to Raralebu Koro, that means the pressure is where the water reaches there.
No, we pump to the reservoir. We don't pump to
Raralebu Koro?
Yeah, Raralebu Koro, but to their reservoir, not to.
So they have their own reservoir there.
Yes, they have their own reservoir.
Oh, okay. So from their reservoir, then gravitation. Okay. Raralebu Koro has their own reservoir.
Yes.
Okay, great.
It's a much smaller reservoir than what we have at Raralebu.
Okay.
So as I explained for the wildlife system, again, anything in yellow that's a pumping line, and anything in blue that's your gravity. So as I mentioned, wildlife, we pump to Wendibuku Reservoir. Once we get to Wendibuku Reservoir, then we gravitate supply to Nazeem and Flagstaff, and we pump to Tovata Reservoir, as I mentioned before, to Kalambu Reservoir, which feeds the Greater Valley area. From Tovata, we gravitate to Kalsa, then pump to Nangatuatu, which is Arbet Tajiro as well.
So, any chance do you also pump to residential now?
No, we don't.
Hardly.
We don't entertain pumping directly into the system for several reasons. One, asset life for us, it's not viable because if you pump directly, what happens is the pump tends to burn out. If you pump directly to customers, you damage their plumbing. So it's not really ideal. So that's why we prefer it goes through the reservoir. So it cuts our cost, but it manages pressure for the customer. So there's some challenges that we face here at Waterfront. You would have heard aging infrastructure. A lot of our infrastructure has been here, as you can see, from 1942. We've got reservoirs in the Suva-Nausori system that was constructed since the year 1942. We've got reservoirs as old as 1950s as well. We've got aging infrastructure. We have raw water issues. One of the common misconceptions out there for customers is if it rains, we should get more water. But for us, that's not the case. Why? You would have heard us talk about turbidity. So turbidity is when we refer to the quality of water that we get to the treatment plant. Every now and then, when it floods, you would have seen the color of the river change. It becomes really murky. So that's basically what we mean by turbidity. The amount of suspended solids or the silt or dirt present in water has gone up. So that makes treatment a challenge. We expend more chemicals to try and treat it. And we also, with that volume of level of dirt coming into the system, what actually happens is our treatment plant cannot filter all of that. So it causes clogs, so we have to backwash, and that in turn impacts the supply onto our major reservoirs, which causes low level. So that's why we say when it's rain, just because it's rain doesn't mean you want to get water supply. You're more likely to get intermittent supply or no water during rainy weather than you are when you have perfectly good conditions. So that's just a very brief presentation.
Just brief on that rainwater again. People, that's true. People have that misconception. When it rains, we should have water. That's what community people say. Village people, they always say. Like they are not educated on this stuff. They don't know this information.
So what I'll do now is I'll take you through our SCADA system. So what I'm going to take you through now, Mr. Nazeem, so this is what we call the SCADA system. It's a supervisory control for data acquisition. So we use this software to monitor our reservoir levels, to monitor flow, and to also carry out automated controls for our system. So what I'm about to take you through now is, this is live. Whatever you see here, this is actually the levels of the reservoir, the flow to that area, the pressure that's existent at those locations. So I'll take you through the YLR system, because the YLR system is where your community is getting fed out of it. So I'll take you through the RLU system. So what you have in front of you, so this is just a diagrammatic view of the RLU system. On your far left, or on my left, your right would be water treatment plant. Right. So we've got 2 pumps running right now. So we pump through our lines to Rewa Depot Reservoir, to the offtakes on Nausori and at the Vudi bypass, and then directly to Raraliu. Raraliu right now, you see the level is 2.07 meters. And you can also have a look at how much water is actually getting pushed into Verata. So out here towards Verata right now, the flow is 3.02. So right now we're supplying 3 milliliters of water is actually coming down towards Verata. 3.1 millimeters is going down towards Mukani. Now your area of concern is on the pressure. So what we've done is we've installed a pressure logger, and this is what we can have a look at. So this tells us from last night at 8, pressure in Lakena starts picking up, and then it starts increasing. So 10 o'clock we have some level of supply. Around 2 o'clock, that's when pressure is really high. It starts dropping off in the morning. As the communities below Lakena starts taking water, this will drop off. And we've got a record of all of this over the last few days. Just scroll out, you will see all of that spike. That you guys in the morning, and then in the evening, as the pressure, as demand goes down for the communities below Lakena Hill, you would be able to get supply up in Lakena Hill. So this is the entire YLR system you're looking at. So this is the Wanyambuku reservoirs. This is a major reservoir that feeds the Suva-Nausori system. So we got, as I've said, 2 pumps that pumps up to Raraliu, that's sitting over here. These are the pumps that pumps up to Wanyambuku. Out of Wanyambuku, we gravitate towards Nazeem Reservoir and Flagstaff Reservoir. And we pump to Tovata. We gravitate to Kalsa, then we pump to Nangatumatu Reservoir, which I'll take you to next. So Nangatumatu Reservoir is here. So we pump we gravitate from Tovata to Kalsa to Nangatumatu, then we gravitate to Tairoa, then we pump up to Nukani Suva and Toloi Suva. So that's this is how we monitor reservoir levels, flow, pressure to our customers. And this is also how we use, or when customers call in and say, oh, we've got no water, this is how we can tell that, what the customer is saying is accurate, or if what the customer is saying is not accurate. This is also one way of us determining if it's a system issue or if it's a local issue, where sometimes some customers call it, it's just an issue at their meter or on a particular connection at their house. We've had instances where customers have called in and it's the stopcock, somebody has gone and closed the stopcock of their house. They've been out of water for 1 or 2 days. We've had those instances. And they've sent in complaints saying we haven't had water for 3 or 4 days. But those are some of the minor
but it's easy to identify whether the household has not got water for 2 days or whole community. It's not the community, then it's something wrong with the household.
So that's basically SCADA. That's the coverage of SCADA. So what I'll do now, I'll take you through our Google Earth so you can have a look at the area of coverage. So this is the Suva-Nausori system. Graphically, from your standpoint, for you to be able to locate yourself geographically, this is how you look at the Suva-Nausori system. So what I'll do is take you through each system. Okay, so as I stated before, while our treatment plant is sitting right over there, you would have seen our raw water pump station, which is just by the road out here in Waila as you head up towards the Reservoir. So we pump to Rara level. All of those light green lines that indicates a pumping line, and that is the area of coverage that we pump into. So out of Waila water treatment plant, as we come to the junction in Vudi bypass, this is where we then directly pump into the system. Why? Because right now we cannot sustain supply to a lot of these customers if we were to put it through the reservoir. If we put it through the reservoir, most of these customers will be out of water because we do not have enough storage capacity for now. But we actually have projects that's ongoing.
That's what I was asking. If you are pumping to one residential area, is there a possibility that it can be pumped towards Verata as well? No, not possible. Or possible?
You can pump, but there is more than one way of considering pumping. When you pump into a system, see over here we're pumping from the treatment plant, but if you pump into Verata, you depressurize the system. See, the treatment plant is where you actually treating the supply, so your supply is consistent. But if we pump at Verata, we've actually thought of pumping to Lakena, but if we do that, we would actually put Kasavu, Verata village or level. We will put all of these customers out of water. Why? Because the pump will depressurize the system to get the flow that you need up at Lakena.
Okay, so like if we have to put the pump for Lakena, where will the pump be located?
It'll be at the bottom because this is the only place you can sustain pressure.
Oh, it will be located.
Yeah, the pump needs to sit where you can sustain pressure. So sustain pressure and flow. If you can't sustain pressure or flow, you can't put a pump there. What happens when you don't have flow or pressure? The pump burns out, so now you're out of a pump. It'll cost you money to fix. So that's how you place pumps. You only place it where you can sustain pressure and flow. And if we were to do this, we will place it right at the junction.
Not before the junction. You'll have to place it right at the junction.
Yeah, you can do it before the junction or after the junction, but it just has to be you have 24 pressure and flow in that area.
Like it is not possible. That's what I mean.
Yeah, it is not possible. It is possible,
but it will
put other people out of water.
Like if you are trying to save 300 people, we'll put 1,000.
Out of water. So this is the pumping system we have.
So say right now only Lakena is affected. Only Lakena Hill is affected. Or there are other areas.
Customers in Bau level get intermittent supply as well. The other, I think I remember we did some valve operation that restored supply for you guys continuously for 2 days. That actually affected our customers up in Bau level, Kasavu area. They faced intermittent supply, like extremely low pressure, very low pressure. Because we've touched a valve that actually supplies to them, so we could push pressure out towards Lakena. So it's a delicate balance for us. We will have to choose between putting 1,000 out of water or just a confined community, because our infrastructure right now cannot allow us to provide you with that full flow. And as you would have heard from our CEO, what we're waiting for is the Viria project that's coming in the next year or so. So that's basically going to push around 40 million liters of water, and that 40 million liters is specifically for the Rio Delta, including your area. Right now, we're only pushing in 26 million liters of water into the Rio Delta. With that new project, that's 40 million. So we're pushing in more water than the current demand that's sitting in the greater Nausori area. So you had asked about Wanyumbuku. So as you can see in the area that's in the gray area, that's all of Wanyumbuku's feed zone. Nakasi in the Wilevu out towards Omkar. It also covers Nandawa, runs all the way up to Nandera. This is all gravity. Up up here, as you can, it's like light purple lines. This is basically the coverage for our Kalambu Reservoir up in valley level. As I mentioned, Tovata Reservoir, it's located on the upper Turara area. So we pump from Wanyambuku to Tovata Reservoir. We gravitate from there all the way to Kalsa Road, which is at the bottom over here. Then we pump to Manatu Reservoir, which is sitting out in Tadiru over here. If you go up there, there's a concrete structure that's sitting there. And this reservoir is located right next to the police station. This is Tadiru Reservoir. Then we pump from Tadiru to Ndokani Suva Reservoir, which is sitting out here. You would have seen it if you go past it. And then we pump to Doloi Suva. In green, this is Nasino feed zone. So our Nasino Reservoir is situated just below FNU valley level. We have 3 reservoirs that's sitting there. There you go. This is Nasino Reservoir. And the feed zone for Nasino is we cover Lombati, all of Laudal Beach, out towards Rifle Range, Vatuanga, and also out towards Raiwanga. And the last area of coverage for the Nasino system is the PRB flats in Raiwai. So as you can see, the coverage is pretty big. And then our Flagstaff Reservoir, the coverage, as you can see, is on that maroon colored line. So we cover USP area, domain, up towards Nasova, and parts of the Suva CBD. And this green line that you see here, this is everybody that's getting fed out of the Tamavua Reservoir. Tamavua Water Treatment Plant has a reservoir next to it. And this is all the areas that's getting covered out of Tamavua Water Treatment Plant. So we basically cover all the way up to Domain. We cover Turek, Upper CWM, Waimanu Road, Samambula, Greater Samambula area, Upper Samambula towards Reg, Upper and Lower Reg, Namandi Heights. We cover Tamavua and Wailoku area, and as I've said, we get water supply out to Ndelene Vesi, all the way down to Tongalevu Naval Base, just before Namboro. So now I'm just going to discuss with you a few of the projects that we have running. So you would have heard in the media that every time it rains, people's out of water turbidity. So that is one of the major issues we face at Tamavua. So to address that, what we have in the works right now, we expect the tender to be coming out by February, which is the advertisement to install a 20 million liter water treatment plant. So it's an upgrade of the current infrastructure that we have. Tamavua Water Treatment Plant it's designed to treat for 60 million liters. As I had mentioned, we're pushing it to 65. Right now, we're pushing it about to 75 million liters. So it is producing over its design capacity at the moment. That's why when it rains, we face production issues, because we then have to revert the plant back to its design capacity of 60. It can only safely treat water up to 60 million liters when turbidity level goes up. So once we introduce the 20 million liter water treatment plant, that gives us the opportunity to increase our production, or maintain more or less maintain our production levels.
Backup.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Like right now, we push 70 million liters into the water treatment plant, but when it rains, we can only push in 60, sometimes 55 million liters because of the quality of the raw water. Now, if you put in that additional water treatment plant, we can maintain pushing in the 75 million liters, because we now have the capacity, the treatment capacity within the treatment plant to cover that. Benefits of this, we maintain reservoir levels at Tamavua. We are able to sustain our supply to our customers in Ndelene Vesi, Lami Village, Belinai Valley, and out towards Tongalevu. As the level drops in, and also our customers in Samambola, as the reservoir level drops. A lot of these customers, they do face this issue, low pressure to no water supply. And sometimes it happens at really inconvenient times. It happens at night when people are asleep, you wake up, you have no water. And then it's raining. So then people say, well, why is it raining? Then we have no water. And it's just basically because we are hampered by our treatment capacity right now. But we have projects that's in progress that will address this issue. Also, an additional opportunity for us when we do this is we will be able to, as you would remember, I said that we are also pumping from Tamavo Water Treatment Plant to Nangatungatu, which covers the Sakotha Taidiro Heights area. Once we get this in, we will be able to procure bigger pumps. Bigger pumps means that we could push more flow in to maintain supply to our customers up in the Sakotha area, Taidiro Heights, Taidirua, Nyumbalavu, Dokane Suva area. So that's basically the opportunity that putting in the additional 20 megaliter water treatment plant offers us. An additional project we have at the moment, one of our major ones as well, is our generators. You would have heard, we would have put out in the media saying that every time there's a power shutdown, water supply is affected. It's because our current infrastructure does not have the backup. It has the backup genset. Well, right now we have hired standby genset, but what we're in the process of doing is procuring our own standby genset that will be able to run these assets. As soon as EFL power goes off, it is an automatic transfer, so production is not impacted, so therefore customer supply is not impacted. Got about 22 generators coming in towards the end of this year, and then we will move into our installation program. So that's another way of us making sure that we sustain supply to customers in the greater Suva-Nausori area. And also on top of that, we have an automation project. We've got an automation project that we plan to have implemented in this financial year. This is basically where we move away from manual valve operation. I think you would have seen some of our stuff with a valve key, turning valves. So what we want to do is take away, sometimes there's an aspect of human error in a lot of things, not just in valve operation, but in a lot of aspects of life. So what we want to do to mitigate it, so we want to introduce automation, where everything is controlled by either the reservoir levels, pressure, or flow to customers, and everything is basically monitored on SCADA, which I have just showed you. So that automation project, we're looking at automating our key valves in the greater Suva-Nausori area as our pilot system. It's also this is one way of ensuring that valve operations are carried out on time and at the right settings that they should be. Because sometimes some of these valves you make a turn too far or too less. Customers either get too much pressure, damages the pipe, you get a burst main, or too less, then people don't have water. So that's the other big the other project. Now the major project that I had mentioned, Viria.
That's the one I'm interested about.
So Viria project. So you would have heard on the media about the Viria project. So this is a project that we. This is one of our key major projects that's been funded through the government and ADB. It's to introduce that 40 million liters of water that we have spoken about. So what you're looking at here is the area of coverage. And when, if you have driven up Princess Road, you would have noticed that our contract is putting in the pipelines at Princess Road. So when we run that line, we will connect it at our Reservoir depot, which is right over here. There was a shutdown. I think we were liaising at us for water tank. Yeah, when we did the shutdown. Right. So that particular shutdown, that is us basically in getting our infrastructure ready. So we've put in, funded by the government of Fiji, we've put in a brand new 600 line to get ourselves ready for the Viria project. So what we're doing is getting ourselves ready for that. So when the Viria project does come online, we do not have to wait to realize the impact. It comes in, we connect it, customers.
Like as we are talking, people actually working. The work is already going on the project.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
construction might
Yeah.
start. Okay, okay.
If you're gonna go back home, if you want to take the opportunity to go through Princess Road, you could actually see the areas where they've worked. You'll see some pipes are still exposed. So works is ongoing.
No, I'm talking about the actual reservoir or the Viria treatment. Work has already started there as well. Okay.
Yeah. So what this basically does is, with 40 million liters now getting pushed into the Rewa Delta, this leaves us with the 26 million liters that I had spoken about earlier, which we were pushing into the Rewa Delta. That leaves us with 26 million liters balance or more sitting at Waila water treatment plant. So what we intend to do with that water is, in the upcoming financial year, we're asking for funding to get bigger pumps for Waila water treatment plant. We intend to pump that 26 million liters directly into the sewer system. So right now we're pushing about 85 million liters of water into the sewer system. With an additional 25, that pushes over 100 million liters. And this would address a lot of the current issues of low pressure, no water supply that the communities out here will face. And for you guys, the 40 million, that addresses your issue.
From the Viria reservoir or treatment plant?
Treatment plant and reservoir.
And reservoir. So from there, the water will go to Raralevu reservoir?
Yes, it will go to Raralevu reservoir.
So from Raralevu reservoir, it will again be gravitational.
Yeah. See,
so what difference will it make? Like still it will be gravitational?
Yeah. See, the issue is not with gravity. The issue is with the volume of water.
Oh, so there will be
more
water.
Yes. See, I had mentioned we right now we're pumping 26 million liters. With Viria, you get 40. So that's a
but the capacity of the reservoir is
so that's what I'm going to get to. So right now we have a 5 meg. I'll actually show you on Google Earth. So right now this is the current reservoir that you have
at Raralevu.
That's a concrete one, is about 5 million liters of water it can store. But on the side of it, you will see there's a blue tank here, and there's a base for another one here. So that's 2 additional 5 megaliter reservoir. So in totality, once this project is completed in this year, storage capacity for Raralevu goes up from 5 to 15. So that will address the storage issue that you had mentioned. So you actually have more water which we can store at Raralevu reservoir.
So more water means more pressure.
Yes. This reservoir is a lot higher than the existing reservoir. We're pushing in 40 million liters. So this is how we're going to store that 40 million liters. It's 15 million plus the storage capacity of our pipelines in the Greater Nausori area. And the Viria project, it is in progress, but because of COVID issues, we're expecting that this to come online around, say, fourth quarter of 2022. That is the projected time frame for this. With the current COVID situation, that is our projected timeline of completion. That about covers our presentation today, Mr. Nazeem. Do you have any other questions you want to answer?
That's okay. Still, so from Viria, when it will go to Raralevu, we'll have extra capacity. So that will surely address our pressure issue.
Yes. So the existing reservoir is about 5 meters high. The 2 new reservoirs they are both 10 meters high. So the high pressure, the pressure point that our CEO has mentioned to, they can take care of that. The additional issue that we face at the moment, with only 26 megaliters actually coming in, we cannot, our reservoir level, ideally, as people take water in the morning, the level would drop. But as people go to work, do their normal stuff, the level would go back up during the middle of the day. So when you come in the afternoon, there is water. But for Raralevu reservoir, that doesn't happen. The level keeps dropping. We cannot replenish the reservoir fast enough, as fast as how people are using. So basically, our rate of replenishment is not as quick as the rate of usage by our customers. Now, with 14 million liters, we would not have that problem. The rate of
more water will be pumped, and there will be extra storage as well. Okay.
And also, we've got a project that we have planned for the upcoming financial year, is to rerun the outlet line that comes towards Lakena to bypass that high point that our CEO is talking about. that is there's an additional project we have in the pipeworks to improve supply to valued customers at Lakena. That answers your question, Mr. Nazeem? Anything else?
No, it's okay. So that would probably take a year or two.
Yeah. Realistically, that is the timeline we're looking
Plus and minus other disturbances which come. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to come. We do appreciate your feedback. Not all feedbacks are bad. Sometimes negative feedback is good because it gets us to understand our customers.
Critical feedback.
It is. It is not negative feedback. It's feedback for improvement.
Yeah, when you criticize it.
Yeah.
Good criticism.
Yeah.
After today's session, I am really grateful. And since I know that, then surely they are working hard. People need to understand, like, they criticize, people say a lot of stuff, but they don't have the knowledge like I have now. After today's session, I know what's really happening. They don't have, and they need to know what's happening. Then only they'll be able to appreciate the work done by WAF. And today, after this, I put a lot of information on what is really actually happening. And when I go back to my community, I can actually inform them that in previous years we are only getting assurance, but now it's not just assurance. Things are happening, and years to come we are going to have water. Previously it was not that. As my community, people have been there for 50 years, right? And if you go to them, they'll say for past 50 years we have been having this problem. But now the actual work is happening. Thank you, WAF.